if you're making a quilt and have a bunch of lines to mark, before you go and start marking all those squares, stop and watch this. I have hundreds of half square triangles to make, which would normally require me, if I followed the pattern, to mark all of these squares. Instead, I'm going to show you how to use this 1/4 inch tape to make this part of the process go a lot faster. I am working on the Redford quilt, which is a free pattern by Then Came June, and I have a lot of half square triangles to make. I fought getting this 1/4 inch tape so hard for a long time, and now I'm so glad I have it. Shout out to Jenna. If you follow me, you've probably already seen her quilting content too. What I'm going to do is just take a piece of this, and this roll will last me forever, and line up the red mark where my needle hits, and then the 2 blue marks should be a 1/4 inch on both sides of that. If you want, you can go ahead and take a ruler and line up the ruler somewhere on your needle plate that has a horizontal line, and make sure that it's perpendicular and lining up straight. And that is it. You can go ahead and rip the tape. The piece will need to be at least as long as whatever seam you're sewing. For this first one here, I am using a square with one of those diagonal lines drawn on it, just so we can get a good picture of where you're supposed to be sewing. So I'm making 2 at a time half square triangles, which requires me to sew a 1/4 inch on both sides of a diagonal line from one corner to the other on a square. So you're not going to line it up on that red line, because that's where the sewing is actually going to be happening. You want to line up your corner on the 1/4 inch line here. And what I do is I just watch that bottom corner there and make sure the entire time I'm sewing, it is following that line on the left, the 1/4 inch line, and I just go ahead and sew. So you'll see that the needle is going down a 1/4 inch away from the marked line. But on my next one here, I will show you what that looks like without the line mark. So I'm putting my 2 squares together, right sides together, and I'm following that 1/4 inch line with the bottom corner there. I also kind of line it up at the top when I first put it down, and that is it. Now I chain piece for as long as I want, break those apart, and then do the same thing on the other side of the line. So again, I'm lining up the corner with the 1/4 inch line on the tape. And that is it. Easy as that. We saved a whole step of having to mark these with a hair marker or fabric marker. This will definitely speed things up for you if you're making this quilt.